We're going to preheat an oven to 275 degrees. And we're going to remove all the plastic from this. We're going to go ahead and put our ham glaze. Pull that off. We'll set that on the side for now. I'm going to wait. I'm going to try to leave it like it is now, because all of the juice is underneath here. We don't need that, but I also don't want it to make a mess and go over everything. One of the things that you do have to remove is this little plastic piece here that covers up the bone, so that when they wrap it up, the bone doesn't cut into the plastic and cause a leak. So now we're just going to pick up our ham. We're going to place it cut side down on an aluminum foil wrapped pan. We're now going to wrap and cover our ham with aluminum foil. So I've taken 2 sheets of aluminum foil and just folded them together here to create a seam. Makes it easier to have a seamless wrap over it. We'll open it up and we're going to place that over our ham. It's okay if it touches the top of the ham, it's not going to stick. So I want to make sure I can seal it all the way around. And again, this is going to take about 3 hours, a little bit over that possibly. We'll have to check it and see. So you want to make sure that you plan for that. You get your ham ready to go in the oven early. It's better for it to be done and let it set than be waiting on it when everybody's hungry. So definitely give yourself at least 3 hours to heat up your ham. And we're going to put it into our 275 degree oven. So I'm pretty sure our ham is ready. So we're going to pull it out and take a look. It's been a little bit over 3 hours. And we'll set it up here. 131 degrees, 132. So we want it between 120 and 140, and it's basically going to be the temperature that we serve it at. So I'll go ahead now and we'll remove the foil. And there's our ham. Just bump this up a little bit. I'm going to take our glaze now and just cut a little corner off of the packet here. And I'm going to pour the glaze over the ham, just try to get it even. Go a little slow. I'm going to bump this ham over a little bit here. Try, there we go. So it doesn't just drip out. If your ham glaze is in the refrigerator and you forget to take it out ahead of time to let it soften up, you can run the packet unopened under hot water to allow it to soften up so that you can just do this. And you can just see I'm just slowly pouring it over it, just making sure I try to get all the sides covered with the glaze. And then we're going to let it sit for about 5 to 10 minutes before we transfer it over to our platter for carving. Our ham has now set. It's got the glaze on it. We let it rest for about 5 to 10 minutes. Now we're going to transfer it over to our serving platter. And that's our heating of our Easter ham. For our cinnamon bread pudding, you're going to get a half pan of crumbled cinnamon biscuits. Now, these already come in a pan that's sprayed with butter or brushed with butter to prevent it from sticking. We can bake it directly in here by taking our 2 pans of custard, just pouring it over, letting it sit, and then throwing it in the oven. I'm going to go ahead and use this platter here, this baking dish, to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and transfer our biscuit crumbs into this pan. So I've already sprayed it with spray release. Just want to make sure that at least there aren't any big pieces sticking up over the top that may brown a little too much or become dry. Sometimes a little bit of the top being a little crusty or crunchy is a nice feature. And that's when it's not completely covered with the batter here. So we're going to go ahead and pour this over the top. You shouldn't need to worry about stirring it. It should all be mixed in. It's just a blend of the cream, eggs, sugar, vanilla. Our second one here, we should see it start to fill up the pan. It's where you can see the custard in it. Once it's in, I'm going to use a spatula or a wooden spoon and just kind of push down to try to make sure that I get as much of that custard over all of these pieces as I can. I'm going to let that sit for about 5 minutes. We'll press it down again and then we'll put it in our oven. So push this down again. Again, just trying to make sure that we get as much of the crumbs or biscuits covered. And then we'll go ahead and bake it in a 325 degree convection oven, preheated, or a 350 degree conventional oven. Looks good. So I'm looking to make sure that it's firm all the way across the top and that I don't see any liquid in the middle when I push down on it. And we're going to double check it by using a thermometer. We're going to temp it. It should be 165 degrees. That's a little bit over 170. So that's perfect. So our caramel sauce can be heated up in the microwave or in a saucepan. Now I just warmed this one up in the microwave, in the container it was in, took the top off, heated it up for about a minute, really just until it gets to be fluid like this. And that's our cinnamon bread pudding. So to heat up our smoky garlic mashed potatoes, we've got a couple of options. You're gonna get them in a metal third pan, aluminum foil third pan. They're gonna look like this. I can take them out of here, put them into a dish, and microwave them to heat them up. If I do that, I'm gonna probably wanna set the microwave for like every 2 minutes. After 2 minutes, I'll take it out, stir it, and add it back in, and then get it into where I want it. What I'm gonna do with this is I'm just gonna leave the lid on, and I'm gonna pop this into an oven. I can use our 325 degree oven that we're doing our ham, or I can turn it up. If I have nothing in there, I'd like to do it at like 350 for about 30 minutes, then take it out, stir it, and then see how hot it is. So we're gonna go ahead and put that in our oven, and we'll just let that start to warm up. So, gonna go ahead and check our potatoes. It's actually 180-ish, but the center here I can tell is a little bit cooler. Not bad, it's at 130. So I'll take and start to stir this up. There you can see it's nice and hot. We do the same thing if we microwave it. Again, you want to microwave it in bursts. Like every 2 minutes, take it out and stir it to make sure you're distributing the heat evenly. And now in the middle, we're great. We're at like 150 degrees. And it's about that all the way around. It's a little bit hotter in 1 or 2 spots, but that's fine. And that's our garlic Dijon mashed potatoes. For our green beans and shallots, they're going to come to you in a foil pan like this, called a foil third pan. And as you see, everything is mixed in it. You've got our shallots, seasoning, butter, oil in there. We have 2 ways to heat this. We can put this whole pan in the oven and warm it, or we can go ahead and add these to a pan and saute them. So I'm gonna go ahead and add them to a pan. So I put a pan on here, just started to get it a little warm. I'm gonna turn it up now. Wait for my pan to get a little hot. Check it by adding 1 or 2. That's good, I can just hear it. I'm going to go ahead and add my beans to it. Now I'm just going to break them up so that they coat the bottom of the pan. And now I'm going to do the hardest part of this, and that's I'm just going to let it go. And I'm not going to touch it. The more I play with it, move it, toss it, shake it around, the more the temperature of the pan starts to drop. This way I'll get nice color on the bottom of the green beans, and it should look really nice. If I stir it around, they tend to almost sweat or steam, and then they kind of just look limp. So we'll just let that go for a few minutes, and then we'll come back and we'll turn them over and toss them. So our green beans have been going here for about 2 minutes. Now I'm going to go ahead and just turn them over a little bit. We'll let them keep cooking. We're looking for all the onions will become more translucent. We'll try to get a little bit of color on here. And then they should be ready to go. Probably another 3 minutes. So our green beans are done. Some of them have started to turn a little dark. You can see the color changing on a bit. I've also tasted it, so I know that they are hot. So I'm going to turn this off, transfer this to a serving platter. The garnish for this is our chopped bacon, which you'll get in an 8-ounce container, and it's already pre-chopped. So what I did was I just popped that in the microwave for 20 seconds, just to warm it up a little bit. You can see how steaming hot that is. And then I'll go ahead and sprinkle our bacon on top. And that's our green beans and shallots. For our deviled eggs, to finish those, we've got our deviled eggs here, and they are in a little bit of water still possibly remaining. So we'll try to dry them up a little bit. So we've got our filling in our bag. So whether it's a pastry bag or if it's a Ziploc, as I've got here, you're going to want to go ahead and cut the end of it. So I'm just going to look for a section here that's got a little bit of a point to it. And using a small knife or scissors, I'm going to cut a little bit of a hole in the bag. And then I'm going to try to push the filling down towards that hole. And I'll go ahead and start to fill these. Sometimes it helps to sort of hold it a little bit. We'll just squeeze some of that in there and pull it off. We'll go back and try to finish shaping them when we have some filling in each one. So now that I've got them filled, I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of our bacon and maybe garnish each one with a little bacon on top. You could use some fresh herbs on top, whatever you really want. You can even sprinkle them with a little bit of paprika, just to give them a little bit of a garnish. I've got some chopped up or really finely sliced pepper here. Just had an extra pepper in the refrigerator, so I cut it up just to add a little bit of color here. You can really do whatever you want as a garnish.